trailer like 4 times today because I really wanted to dig in and understand some things, find some answers.
Look at all the peripheral stuff, look at the background stuff, look at settings and
Yeah,
locations.
for
And
sure. It just, it definitely feels Star Wars. I'm loving that part of it.
oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Are we
It
on?
even says
Oh,
so
yeah.
in the
Yeah.
title. It tells you this is Star Wars.
Yeah, and some John Williams scoring as member berries, although he's actually scoring the series or scored the series, which is pretty
Yeah,
awesome.
that's awesome.
Yeah.
Huh.
Oh, it's
I wonder
definitely
how hard it was to get him. Was he like, or maybe he was just bored? Like,
Yeah.
all right, I'll do it again.
yeah. It was
Instead,
just
I was
rearrangements.
retired.
Yeah.
What did I watch?
He's
I
gotta be
watched
tired.
I watched the 1972 Poseidon Adventure the other day.
Oh,
Wow.
Gene Hackman?
that-
Who's
Yeah.
Yeah, Gene Hackman. But at
Ernest
the end, it
Borgnine?
was like score by John Williams. I
Oh
was
no
like,
way.
Oh, yeah,
That's awesome.
yeah. So random, like, oh, I know that name.
I've heard of that guy.
I know that guy.
He's done a thing or two. So what were your guys' initial gut reactions after watching the trailer? Eric first. And go. It's like, I haven't watched it.
Let me hold on. Just give me how long? 2 minutes.
Minute and 28 seconds.
No, I mean, after Boba Fett, I kind of watched, and I think I watched it at work. And I don't want to say I felt nothing, but I maybe felt nothing. But it's not a bad thing.
Right.
I think I'm just starting to feel nothing now. So,
Yeah.
so yeah, it looks fun.
I think we've learned. I think we learned from Boba Fett that like you just gotta drop your expectations.
Yeah.
Like, just
Absolutely.
bring them down and let
this
the show build it back up.
Has the benefit of Boba Fett coming before it. And
Yeah.
because if this was the next show after
Mhm.
Mandalorian, everyone's going to be like, and
Yeah.
now everyone's like, okay,
Yeah.
it looks good. It looks whatever, fun enough. Let's see. Trailers can be deceiving. So, but no, it looked fine. I like that they threw in Luke just right away, and we're like, there's Luke. Okay, now we don't have to talk about when does Luke show up.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
I think that was a good call. Doing his little pod racer business.
Yeah. He's also in IMDb. He's listed as Luke Skywalker as well, so that's helpful. So you just get that right out of the way,
Yep.
right out the gate. So you know he's in it. Good. Fantastic.
Right.
Well, I think I saw somewhere that Mark Hamill actually chimed in on Twitter and was like, fully endorsed the kid. He's like, here you go. He's like,
Well,
I mean, what's he gonna do? He's gonna get mad at like a 9-year-old kid.
I heard
That'd
that
be wonderful.
I heard that
if
he's
he
actually
did.
playing the kid. It's just
Mocap.
yeah.
Andy
Mocap.
Serkis does the body, and he does the voice.
Oh,
I'm Luke.
They de-aged Mark Hamill's voice.
Right.
Hi, what's up, fellas?
Gave him a little bit of a lisp. Yeah, prepubescent lisp.
till I can go to Toshi Station.
Why does he walk like a gorilla? That's what I don't understand.
He grunts all the time.
Keep saying Caesar. So weird. I liked it. Like I said,
Yeah.
I think again, Mandalorian, and then Mandalorian season 2, and then Boba Fett.
Way down.
Even so bad that they had to have Mandalorian season 2.5
Right.
to bring it up. So yeah, watching the trailer was like, I was really just, it was a checklist at this point. It was like,
Mhm.
all right, you got to hit the moments. I want to see Tatooine, of course, maybe a pop in on Owen and Beru. You know, Luke was like, oh, that's cool. But then it really became like, so are we just gonna like watch this guy putz around the desert for 20 years? Like, what is
Right.
this show? Like
Right.
what is the show actually? What's the meat of the show going to be? So then I like that right away they dropped the Inquisitors in, which is kind of, they weren't in any of the, were they in any of the Rebels or Clones?
Yeah, they were
Yeah,
in Rebels.
They're in Rebels.
Okay, right. They're
the
in Rebels.
Grand Quizler is in Rebels.
Yeah.
Right.
quizzle me
'Cause I'm-
this.
'cause I'm
and
trying to think that-
quizzle me that.
I think my first exposure to the Inquisitors was actually in the Fallen Order
Right.
video game,
Yeah.
where
Oh,
they're prevalent.
okay.
Like I mean, you fight them all, so like they are prevalent in that game. That
Because
game
Sister
takes place.
5 is like, is it Sister 5? I forget what her name is. She's like the main Inquisitor
Yeah,
in it,
it's
right?
something like
yeah.
that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Are they
Well,
called
then
brothers and sisters?
Yeah.
And she's sister number 5.
yeah.
something
So
like
you
that.
get to meet the High Inquisitor, who also shows up in Rebels. I knew he was in one of the animated ones, but so he's in Rebels, and then what is it, like Brother 2, or just the big guy with the giant, like the black
big hat.
helmet.
Yeah.
That looks just a little out of place.
Okay.
He's
Well, I brought
supposed
up
to be
the
just like this
IMDb.
big hulking presence. So you fight him in the video game, which is a kind of a cool fight. So yeah, it was good to see them. I don't like the people immediately getting mad at the live action version of a cartoon. though.
Right.
That, to me, that's dumb. Like, it just is. It's just dumb. Like
I
it's
agree.
it's a cartoon for a reason. You can draw things however you want. There are no rules other than basic anatomy. So to try to expect a show to throw these crazy angular lines and stuff is like, it's just asking.
Mhm.
And then to have the actors emote on top of that, it's asking a lot.
Well, that does that species is on Utapau in episode 3 that we learned last
You're
week
right.
in Trivial Pursuit. So, but it's that weird looking guy that's in the old Mad Max movies that had the gyro jet.
Yeah.
That guy was the actor, and so they put that like linear makeup on him, and so he looks very different than what this guy looks like.
Mm-hmm.
So I
Yeah.
think so it has been done live action, and he does look different. I don't care, but
Right.
Well,
So
so
that's
did
like,
Bad
I mean, look
King.
at the
Bad
three
King.
of us though. We all look different. So
mhm.
like, let it go.
Different than what?
I mean, we don't look alike.
Oh, you mean from person to person, species
Yeah.
to species? Oh, yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Like, they don't need to be identical.
Yeah.
So like, get
I
over
can't
it.
tell us apart until I start moving my mouth, and then I go, "Oh, okay, that one's me."
That one's me talking.
I have face blindness.
You have carbonation sickness.
Yeah, and I like that it looks like it's going to be a split balance show between Obi Wan monitoring Luke, but then also a lot of stuff with like the Inquisitors and like the post Order 66, all that kind of stuff. That's really what I want to see is like, where does the show pick up, and is it just like flooded with flashback stuff, or is it, how far forward does it go to? Because we know that it's been leaked, that Hayden Christensen makes an appearance as Vader, and it's definitely the video game Fallen Order / Rogue One Vader that doesn't mess around.
Mm-hmm.
So like, we're gonna see bodies getting flung and people getting one chopped and all this stuff. So I'm excited for that too.
Mm-hmm.
The one thing I hope they don't do is just start like dotting in all this exterior stuff. Like, I don't want to see Rosario Dawson pop up. No offense to her, but she's got her own show that's about to happen, which we could talk about. But I don't want to see her like pop in unless it's absolutely in like the minimum of reference.
Right. Or she does something more than just, "Hi, remember me?"
Yeah. It's a
Yeah.
tough place because, when we're talking about retconning, which is which is what all of these shows are doing, and you could even like say that the time period between the prequels and the original trilogy is probably more interesting than the prequels and then the last 3 movies. So you kind of have the lead up, and then the original trilogy is kind of like the most interesting time of all of Star Wars, but kind of in the before it all happening. And so with Ahsoka Tano becoming such a popular character to fans, but having such an intrinsic link to the Skywalker, saga of things and Obi-Wan and stuff, it'll be hard not to have her in there.
Especially,
Yeah.
Clone Wars, she knows him and he knows her.
And we need to see, I mean, I want to see her acting with Darth Vader. I want to see one more battle before
sure.
later on. So I hope that it happens. But the thing is, like, after Boba Fett's massive member berry and just exposition, at this point, I'm just like, just show me fun stuff. Like, let's just have fun with it, and let's just enjoy it. Yeah. Sort of what do we call the Starship Troopers, you always called it a bug hunt. It was just a good old fashioned bug hunt. And it's like, yeah, let's just do that. Let's just have some fun with it at this point.
Yeah, like I don't need an entire episode of like Obi-Wan styling out his cave on Tatooine.
Right.
I want
Like-
to see him play
like-
checkers with the ghost of Qui-Gon, though. You want a solid 2-episode arc.
Yeah. Oh, he's
trying
going
to
to be
think
in
of
it, right? Qui-Gon's going to show up again, right?
King me.
He has to.
It's this
No,
voice.
you king me. No king me. And then Qui-Gon trying to turn the game upside down, getting pissed, but he can't because he's a ghost.
His hands just go through the board.
Just that like floop, 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 floop,
Yeah.
floop, floop.
Or it's just them, like, silent treatment. They're like an old married couple. And Qui-Gon just won't leave. And Obi-Wan's just like, comes home, hangs up his robe.
Washes the dishes loudly.
Like,
Qui-Gon just like opening the fridge and leaving it. Just like peeking his head in when he's in the bathroom. Hey,
Qui-Gon, could you please put away
Hey.
the blue milk? It's going to spoil on the counter.
shaking it. So I see we're putting back near empties again, are we?
and what's that all over the floor? It's my Betachlorians.
I'm bored. I'm an eternal being.
Ectoplasm.
I think that
Ectoplasm, everyone.
the opening of it, I was already. Thing is, like, it's a good trailer. I'm very excited about the show, but I'm so exhausted by Tatooine at this point that they're bad.
Why? Why are you bored of? Why are you tired of that place that Luke Skywalker said? You know, this place, it's the boringest place in the galaxy. That place? Why are you tired of it?
Why are you tired of the center of the Star Wars universe after being said in the first 12 lines of the first movie that this is the furthest place away from anything exciting ever?
Do you want something interesting? Well, you've come to the wrong place. Hey, Tatooine.
JK, how about 7 movies and 3 series based around this one freaking planet? Does that sound good?
Hey, they also went to Jakku. That was
That's a
totally different.
Good point. It was
They should
just
they really
eliminate
need to do
deserts
something
completely.
to Tatooine where it's got like it's got to have. I just wish there was something where they're like, it's like a Kyber mine, or it has some sort of
Give it
like
something.
yeah, some sort of connection to the paradimensional force or something like that. Like give it something that it is such a magnet of activity.
It's
Like,
interesting enough. Well, that's the thing. It's supposed to be completely out of the way, but we're gonna be in a series now where there's gonna have to be some explanation as to why Inquisitors are on Tatooine and they didn't find Luke. So, which will be fun to see if it's done well, because that was my first thought when I'm watching it. I'm like,
Mhm.
the Inquisitors are there, so is Obi-Wan, because they can tell because they're Force sensitive as well. So how does Obi-Wan get them off and then still
Nah.
manage to make this work? Right? Gonna be
It's
interesting.
the Force gulper.
He
The
keeps-
Force-
I
Ay,
like
ay,
my-
ay.
my-
Little callback for you.
If any of you have not heard about the Force Gulper, it's okay because it's not canon yet.
Yes.
Yeah. But if you go do a little YouTube search for the Prop Shop, 2 P's,
Yes.
PROPP, the Prop Shop
Well,
on
3
YouTube.
Ps, technically.
Yeah, technically 3 P's. You'll find Eric's YouTube page with his new Star
just-
Wars short.
Watch just the Book of Jango Fett.
Yeah, just watch
the
the episodes. The episode, what would you call it? Clip from the full episode, and you'll get a nice
Yes.
taste of what we're talking about. I got to say, I did enjoy what language were you speaking in that whole thing?
Oh, I made that up,
Yeah,
but I put care into
Oh,
the
yeah.
stupidity
It was
of the
great.
sound of it.
it sounded like Huttese.
Yeah,
Yeah.
one of my other friends was like, "You're Huttese." I was like, "I guess, yeah."
It worked.
It's got to have a certain.
It's
yeah.
Southern Huttese,
Right. It's dialect.
It's a little bit of Cajun and Huttese mixed together.
Chini de Papa Pingo.
Well, it was the first episode of a Star Wars show not on Tatooine for about 18 months. So we were all very happy about that. So thank
That's
you.
true.
Yeah.
It wins immediately.
Yeah.
No questions.
So check it out. The Book of Jango Fett, now on YouTube. Written, directed, starring Eric Prop.
Produced
And
by
friends.
cinematographer.
And friends. Right. Shot on the A7 III, one of my favorite cameras of all time. So there you go.
A7 III, and what's the other one you have? Because some of that was shot with my friend's better Sony
The
camera.
FX9, the big one.
I think so. Yeah.
Oh, nice. Well done. I love that
He's got a
camera.
good one.
Yeah.
But then most of what we shot had terrible lighting, so I had to reshoot everything with mine.
Nice.
Most
Oof.
everything.
It's all in the lighting, man. Doesn't matter how expensive your camera is. If you got crap lighting, not going to matter.
You need lots of light to
Mhm.
make a movie.
Or very little, depending upon what you're doing.
Yeah, Batman, you don't need any.
Apparently. Speaking
Hey,
of
that
Oh, I
that
like
scene is
Batman movie.
fantastic. Are you talking about the gunfight scene in the hallway?
Oh,
I haven't
yeah,
seen
yeah, I
it.
like that.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
With the
Oh, you gotta
machine gun
add
and
that
he's-
to your
Yeah.
your list of things to go see.
I
Did
was
you
not
see
gonna
the-
see it, and a friend kind of drugged me to it, but I enjoyed it.
there's a
Long.
meme of it, of showing a screenshot starting in 1989. It was like 89, 93, and they just get darker and darker and darker, and this is 2023, and it's just a black square. Like,
Yeah.
that's great.
Yeah,
Thanks
it
for
starts
that.
with the TV show, and then it
Oh,
goes
yeah.
to 2025 is the last thing.
Yeah.
It's just black. Like, you know what's going to be cheap to produce?
Yeah.
Just darkness.
It's just like a radio drama. At that point,
Sit in a dark theater to a radio drama.
So
is she, Grand Quizzler? Where is she?
so long story short, it's
Grand Quizzler.
a teaser, not a trailer, right? Because it teases you, gives you little things to chew on,
yeah.
Yes.
and then
We're back
it's
to
also
Obi-Wan,
hard to
right?
write. It's
Mhm.
also hard to make a trailer for a show, like a television show, because it's not like
Right.
you can't just tease episode 1, because then
Mhm.
you're basically watching episode 1.
But you kind of
So-
have to, because you can't show if there's spoilers
Yeah.
for
There
if
might
there's
be
cliffhangers in
yeah.
episode
Who
1.
chose episode 2.
Yeah. So if you go back and watch like the Boba Fett trailer, it's all from basically the first episode
Yeah,
of the show, and that's about it. But doesn't matter because nothing else happened, so kind of fine. As long as you didn't
Yeah,
show the
there's-
Mandalorian, you can show us anything you want.
true.
But with this show, there's an interesting amount of history and lore if you're into the well, yeah, I guess if you're into the comic books, because that's where also the Inquisitors came from. If you're into the games, a lot of stuff probably in the games, and then of course Rebels. There's a lot, going on there. So, which I didn't realize, the Grand Inquisitor was voiced by Jason Isaacs in Rebels. That's a
Yes.
pretty big get for that.
When speaking of Rebels, it looks like the Ahsoka Tano series is going to be Rebels era. Because
Which
they
is
had
Okay.
After all of this,
Okay.
right?
Yeah.
which is after all this, because they showed
It's like right before Rogue One.
Mhm.
It's like
Yes.
Rogue One-y, ishy-wishy, yeah.
Mhm.
yeah, because they showed a character shot of Sabine Wren, who is
right.
the
they cast
Mandalorian.
Sabine.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, she looks appropriately cast, the actress.
yeah, I think they nailed it. So, but then I don't know if I saw an official what's the kid's name? Caden?
Flip Gundar.
Yeah, that guy. I think I saw a
You're talking about Kanan Jarrus?
made shot of him.
Yeah.
But no, the kid, not
Ezra
there it
Bridger.
is.
Ezra
Ezra
Bridger?
Bridger,
Gotcha.
yeah.
Hard to keep
so
all.
there was a shot of him, but it was late season Ezra. So again, it might have been a fan made image, but he had a haircut and trimmed up and everything, and he was
Nice.
older. So
Oh, right. He went
Yeah.
like buzz cut towards the end.
yeah,
Mhm.
And then he got abducted by space. Oh, I shouldn't spoil. No spoilers. There were no space whales. Forget I said anything.
never mind. Don't worry about it. So that'll be another show that it'll be interesting to see. Because Ahsoka has gone kind of stratospheric in her interest,
Mhm.
but also now that we know that they have no qualms about like digging other people into series,
Mhm.
is like, are they going to sneak Ahsoka into this one? And
Yeah.
then will that be in the Ahsoka series, or will
And
they?
then will Obi Wan sneak into the Ahsoka series?
Right.
And,
Right.
Mhm.
Yeah. Right. Just cross pollination, up, down, left, right.
So it'll be interesting to see.
Yeah.
And Rex, will they bring in the old clones? Will
Right.
Tamir
Right.
Morrison play old clones?
Probably.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, why wouldn't
It would be.
I mean, they could just leave their helmets on and call it a day. you
It's
know, just
weird
like-
though. You don't think about it when you're watching other shows like Clone Wars or even Bad Batch or something like that. It's the same guy's voice, and the same
Right.
character technically.
Yeah.
But for some reason, Boba Fett, Tamira's such a presence, and he's so imposing, and his facial like everything about him is just very present. And I feel like a show with like 9 of him would be a lot to handle because they're kind of
Yeah.
innocuous clones as clones, but as Boba Fett,
Right.
it's just a lot. Yeah.
Now that's I want to see just him bickering with himself, all roommates of each other.
Right.
There you go. There's a show.
be like
It's
multiplicity.
the real world with
clones.
the clones.
It's just perfect strangers, but clones.
The real world Camino.
Yeah.
Right. Who left the what? Who left the blue milk out? I thought you did.
Oh, Ton Wei's coming again. Ton Wei's gonna be pissed.
Hey, Tom Way.
Ton Wei.
I don't know. But that's the
Good for
thing,
New
though.
Zealand.
Killed Ton Wee.
Yeah.
Remember how they killed her in that?
Yeah, and Bad Batch.
Bad Batch?
Ooh.
Sorry, spoilers.
Yeah. Sorry, everybody.
Forget the Tonwi and the space whales. Tom.
Yeah.
I think we're safe with spoilers because it's safe to assume that during the pandemic, people watched the bejesus out of this stuff. So
Well, and that was a brutal one because you kind of remember Tanwi as this sort of wonderfully likable, sweet character, and then to just like axe her just out of nowhere, like her big old lifeless ostrich head just kind of falls into frame, and you're like, you just killed her in a cartoon? That's not how I would want my character to go in the cartoon. I would want him to go in live action, kind of like Darth Maul. I'd rather him go in live action. I wouldn't mind a live action version of that scene from Rebels if they could just toss that in at some point in time, like in Ahsoka or something like that. That'd be kind of nice. Yeah. Let me see.
Yeah,
Ray
well,
Parks
that's the
Then
thing, like,
I be
you wouldn't go at it.
Ahsoka and my sheep.
that's the thing they could do with
A
Obi-Wan,
ton,
right? Is
no.
it doesn't it says it's a miniseries event.
Yeah.
So that would imply that it's in a fixed period of time, but there's nothing saying that they couldn't like
Yeah.
go
Bounce.
from Order 66 all the way up to some little kid getting lost in the canyons and
Mhm.
attacked by Tusken Raiders. You
Mhm.
know, there's nothing saying they couldn't cover that entire swath of lore.
And I wouldn't mind seeing more stories. I would love to see a series that takes place just post Order 66. So Bad Batch era live action series about some, Jedi who are escaping, because there's no reason not to. I mean, at this point, we've eliminated the exclusivity of Obi Wan Kenobi. Like in A New Hope,
Right.
you kind of presume that he and Yoda are the last 2 Jedi ever, and Luke is the next hope. Now we know that that's all BS, and it really didn't matter if Luke survived or not, because there's a million
Nothing
Jedi out there.
matters, Nothing
Yeah,
ever
yeah.
mattered. It's just it keeps happening over and over again.
Exactly. So just give us a fun
Everyone's
series.
sacrifice is for nothing. I mean, it's all very important. It all matters. That's what I
Yeah.
meant to say.
Blue milk space whales.
Space whales, babe.
Yeah.
Hey, babe.
Interdimensional force wolves.
Right.
That's
But-
that's when Rebels got a little like, where are you going with this? Don't you remember they're on the
I remember
planet?
that.
Like the force wolves came and they rode them and they like sunk into the planet.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, vaguely. A lot of Rebels I kind of had on in the background
hmm
Oh.
until it would build up to a season finale. Then I was like, okay, now I'm interested.
Yeah.
Because I was like bored by Lothal. I was like, oh, I was like Tatooine 2.0 for me. I was like,
Right.
oh,
Mm.
great. Lothal.
We got Loth cats everywhere now.
Yeah.
There are little
Oh,
Easter eggs in all
great.
these shows.
Like, cool. Somewhere else I feel like I actually lived in. Cool. I'm glad I'm going to Star Wars to see my childhood. Boring.
That's my argument with certain things, certain movies. Like Nomadland was a big one because everyone loved it. It won a bazillion awards. People thought it was an amazing film. And I didn't. And part of the reason is because it just looks like where I live. So I understand a person's fascination with the sunsets and the mountains and the wide open spaces and the trailers. But I just see that every day. And so it's not interesting to me at all.
Yeah.
And so when you know that the director's from another country and the, actors have been living in Hollywood for a billion years and they used real like humans, all of that builds up to like a fantastic idea. I didn't find it interesting because it's just like,
Sure.
meh. Yeah.
It's a very specific audience for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're not wrong because there was a movie with Will Forte called Nebraska.
Right.
It was shot black and white, and it's a great movie. But I know a lot of people that were just like, I hate this movie.
Right.
But they're like, why? It's like, oh, because you don't have a frame of reference to this.
Well, and no one in Nebraska is going to want to watch that movie because it
Right.
just feels like they're just watching a guy talking in a bar with people they talk in a bar with. It's not interesting to them.
Yeah, there's no kitsch to it. They're just like, yeah, I call that Wednesday.
Right. Yeah, exactly. So when Star
I drink
Wars becomes,
because I live in that.
yeah, I drink to escape it.
This is why I drink. Why would I watch it?
Now, what are the big complaints out there about the Inquisitors? Is it just that they
It's the
don't
looks.
look
It's,
enough
I think
like
it's just
yeah.
the characters?
The head, the probably like the. Well, it depends. Are you talking about the Rebels or the actual live action?
Right. They want them to be skinny and tall heads,
Yeah.
and instead
Yep.
they look like actual human heads, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the lines are subtle and whatever.
Mhm.
I mean, too, we're only. I feel like we only really get one shot of the guy with certain lighting.
Yeah.
So they're right there. You're like, we don't know what he looks like in every condition.
Mhm.
Oh, yeah, the other one's got the spinning saber in front of his face too. So
Yeah.
Oh, right.
it's like you're not right. I think it's just silly that people got so worked up because somebody made a decision in the art department of like, we could do all this makeup, but then the actor's not going to be able to emote behind it.
Mhm.
I shouldn't say that. Some makeup is really well done, but when you try to transfer the idea of a cartoon into live action, people just aren't built the way that cartoons are drawn.
Mhm.
So the lines and stuff are going to be so weird, and you're going to get weird wrinkles from the foam prosthetics if they choose foam or whatever. It's going to bend weird because cartoon people's jaws disengage when they talk.
Right.
Where
There's all kinds of
ours hinge
stuff.
Right. So you're gonna get seams, you're gonna get creases, and somebody was just like, you know what, screw it. Like we're gonna back the makeup out to here, and let the actor work as opposed to like being like that and then figure it out.
Yeah. So I'm all for giving the character, the actor, more face time.
Now, so when I watched the trailer, I thought that was Palpatine's voice, but is it his voice?
Yeah, I think it's the Grand Inquisitor's voice that we hear in that. Yeah, but he sounds like Emperor.
It's very
Palpatine,
close for
which is
sure.
cool.
Quizzle me this.
Quizzle me.
Quizzle me that.
And well, I think that was also. It gets a little once you're this far in too. It gets confusing because the guy who plays Darth Maul, who does Darth Maul's voice in like Rebels and all that stuff, also I believe did his voice in Han Solo in the Solo movie.
Yeah.
But he's done Darth Maul and Darth Sidious before in video games and other things like that. Yeah.
It's what is his name? Yeah.
Yeah.
Dude.
So it starts to, after a while, you kind of go, and then it's not the same. It's not Tamira Morrison, obviously, doing the clones.
Right.
So all of those things start to get very confusing. You start hearing all these voices that start sounding kind of the same or whatever. Let me look and see.
Then the original guy is what's his name?
Ray Park.
No, the original voice of Darth Maul was the guy who did that newer live action Tick, and he was in
Warbird?
Shaun of the Dead. No, it's that newer Tick.
Oh, Oh.
With the weird, what's his last name? Gargar.
Yeah, I could see him, but
He's
I can't.
got a real tough last name. I'll look it up. Here, let's keep talking. I'll figure it out.
Yeah, I'm looking up our guy too here.
You're talking about Ray Winstone, right?
No, not Ray Winstone. He was.
Oh man, I look fat.
You look great. Don't say that about yourself.
You're lovely. You're a papa.
You silly goose.
I heard your baby.
Papa weight.
For a second, I was like, "What? Do you have a bird?" I was like, "Oh, you have a baby."
Sam Witwer. That's who it is. Who plays Darth Maul.
That's the guy who did the Force Unleashed. He was the face model, and I think he did the voice for that video game way back. And he's done Sidious, Palpatine, and some Darth Maul.
Yeah, he's done a lot. A lot of the voices.
Guy.
Yeah. And so, which one are you thinking about? Oh, he was in Battlestar. I forgot about that. That's cool.
The Tick newer TV show was on Netflix. I never watched it.
The Tick?
Yeah, but not the old one with.
Right, the new-ish one.
God, both those guys have weird last names.
Oh, Peter Serafinowicz.
Serafinowicz.
Yes.
Yes, that's the one.
I said words.
He was the original. He was the one that said, "Alas, we will have revenge."
Oh, no way. Really? Oh, crazy.
How's that guy?
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Because there's no way that they're going to let Ray Park do it because he sounds like C-3PO. Or
Get out of here, Larry.
Yeah.
My name's Raymond. Shut up, Larry.
He kind of has a...
Start twirling.
It's almost a David Beckham voice where you're like,
Right. Oh, just...
Yeah.
Yeah, just twirl that lightsaber. Yeah. No, don't talk.
Sure. I almost forgot that Darth Maul was in Solo because I've blacked that movie out of my mind.
Right.
I didn't even realize.
Is he a post credit or is he?
Yeah, he's post credit.
Yeah.
He is.
So technically,
post credits.
I might not have even gotten.
And
that.
they were gonna do more with him, and then that movie didn't make money, and they went, "Oh, rethink."
Is he post or is he like right before the credits? Because it's when Kira takes off.
He might be mid credits. I can't remember.
Oh, like they do the initial splash, and
I
then...
only watched that movie in the theater, so I haven't seen it since.
So you left?
Oh no, I did watch. I stayed for it, but I haven't seen the movie since.
Oh yeah, no, I've watched it a couple times.
In the theater, you watched it a couple times?
No, only once in the theater.
Okay,
but I own it and I've watched it
until he did the popcorn trick and got kicked out.
The old popcorn trick, throwing popcorn at little kids again.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know, man. It's well, the other thing that this is going to suffer from is false drama, which is not my favorite.
Right.
So
yeah,
like, Obi Wan isn't going to die.
Yeah.
Right.
He's going to get all sorts of peril. Not going to die. The High Inquisitor, unless they go that road, not going to die.
Yeah.
No, he can't either because he dies in Rebels. Oh, sorry, spoilers.
Yeah.
But this one wasn't Space Whales.
Right. Just the death of the main character. No big deal. Everyone relax.
He died by the hand of Jangum Squiggles.
Because they show High Inquisitor, and they don't show the big brother, but they show the sister in Rebels as well. The one with like the super like the Tron helmet, like the super sleek.
The fifth brother?
Yes. That's right.
No, it's his sister who's an ex-Jedi.
Oh, the sister. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
That's from the video game. So yeah, the brother dies in the video game, which I'm not sure we're Fallen Order. I know it's post 66 because that's the reason he's alone. But when 66 happens, the kid is a Padawan, so let's go with like 8, and then in the video game he is like 16, 18, something like that. So it's like 10 years after.
Okay.
So somewhere in here, like
that's right, Obi Wan. I think that's right where they're putting the show. They're sticking the show right in the middle of episode 3 and 4.
So it would be awesome to see some Fallen Order stuff show up. I don't know if they have the rights to it, probably not, but like, because like BD1 was in Boba Fett. He was the tiny little two-legged droid that helped him put the ship together, helped him manually put. That's BD1. He was in the video game Fallen Order. So
is he like your little helper buddy or some?
Yeah.
Stuff?
He gives you like little stim packs and has the map. That he's their answer to how do you make a mapless video game. You have a droid that just projects a map.
I actually brought up.
Hey, droid, give me a hoagie.
I want a cruller and a Boston cream.
I've picked up I put together the timeline, but I didn't put the games in there. But of all the different movies and TV shows and kind of where they sit.
And then the books? I don't know. I haven't read
the books probably destroy all of this.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure there's no way they can keep all that stuff juggling in the air. So.
Yeah. There's little, I think, tidbits here and there that they throw into just, Easter eggs and such. But yeah, I'm not sure how much. Because I read Shadows of the Empire when it first came out when we were kids. And I loved that. It was the only thing that was outside of the original trilogy really that was good at the time.
Yeah.
And I loved that thing. It was fantastic.
Timothy's on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Nailed it. And then there was the game for Super Nintendo.
That was like the first time you could be on Hoth, and
yeah,
they had the music, and you could.
Which one was that? Shadow, or are you talking about KOTOR?
Shadow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Shadow, and it was that the one you were playing?
Dash Rendar.
Dash Rendar. That's right.
And it's like low res Millennium Falcon.
Yeah.
The Outrider or something.
Yeah, I don't think I played that one.
Yeah, that's great. That's what I was thinking. That would be a fun episode to play. Figure out how to play the games on there too. Because so far, our most popular live stream by far is us playing Trivial Pursuit.
Was it?
We have like 26 views.
What?
Yeah, the rest of them get about 4. So, yeah.
I've got a friend out here, a drinking friend, MIT Tech, that he listened to all of our Boba Fett.
Really?
So
well, tell him thank you. Thank you.
I told him thank you.
Mm-hmm. I mean, it's a good time to say thank you to everyone who listens to this podcast. We really appreciate it, and it's fantastic. And
even if you're a filthy space whale, we still appreciate it.
Or a force-sensitive wolf that lets people ride you, we still love you, no matter who you are. Have you been riding the high of you winning the first ever Smoking Hut Nerds Trivial Pursuit? Yeah, I'm sure you're still high on that one.
Been on a bender.
Yeah.
Did you update your Hinge profile?
Work is like, Eric, you really need to show up on time. And I was like, I don't think you guys get how big of a deal this was. I knew the time difference from the Phantom Menace to
New Hope. Right?
Without help. Everybody
without giving
that I talked to was impressed. My parents were impressed.
Like,
Sarah,
shut
everybody
up.
was
impressed. I'm going to figure this out.
Yeah. I almost gave you the multiple choice, and then you were like, the space whales will guide me. And they did. They guided you right to the right answer.
I just
which was what? Was it
blubber?
35, right? Knowledge. Is either 35 or 32?
You gulped the force right into your gullet.
Yeah, 32.
32 years. Yeah, very impressive.
Years.
Well done.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So,
we got comments on YouTube.
Oh yeah, where are the comments?
It's the same spam bots we got last time.
Yeah.
Spam bot. We love our spam bot. They still trying to get us
spam droid. Good. You mean? Because we're in the Star Wars universe.
Yeah, I should correct it. My bad.
Wet girls are here. So
jerk off daily.
Space whale action.
We got space whale action.
Well, I love the emojis. If we can talk about it for a minute, so it's water drops, and then a sweaty red face guy, and then a regular face with hearts around it. That's one of them. It's like, what's the order of events?
Because once you let it rip, you're just in love. I think
then
is
you
what
fall in love.
She's trying to say. Can we like these? I want to like all of these.
No,
I can't.
do it. Don't do it.
I mean, we want to encourage more bots, but they don't know the difference,
But then we'll get more comments.
right?
Oh man.
I
Anyways,
know. Hard to decide what to do.
so I want to transition for a moment, if I can.
Yes.
It's still Star Wars,
You do whatever you want to do. It's your life.
right? So you guys are aware of the Galactic Star Cruiser
At Disneyland.
Is this the thing?
at Disney World? It is the Star Wars themed 3-day 2-night
Right.
hotel
Mhm.
immersive experience.
Mhm.
I've had other friends complain about this, so yeah.
Because they went.
Because no, saying that they will not do it, and I
Oh.
haven't ever looked into it.
So
yeah, I want to get Mr. Disney's perspective.
Dish it.
right. So a couple of weeks ago, they had a press. I want to call it a press release, but it wasn't a press day. It was a press event where they invited
Mhm.
popular Disney YouTubers to come experience, kind of like doing a soft open.
Yeah.
But they knew they were going to soft up with fans, right?
TikTokers and all those things.
Yeah. So they
Yeah.
dump them in there, and then now their videos are out, and you can watch them. And of course, there's the clickbait ones like the secret of the galactic, blah 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 blah. Regardless, when this first came out, I'm thinking it's going to be expensive, which it is, but I'll talk about that in a second. The other thing is like it's going to be booked forever. Like
Mhm.
you're never going to be able to get into it. So two miscalculations. The first one is it's expensive. However, the price is per room, not per person.
Hmm.
So you can get a 4-bedroom, a 5-bedroom, an 8-bed suite,
Wow.
and it's just a flat price, and it's only the price you pay goes down by the number of people you stick into that room.
Right. Kind of like a ticket price
Exactly.
at the park. Yeah.
So that's one thing. So yeah,
I know a lot of sweaty clowns that like to get close to each other.
yeah.
They
And
can
so the second
cram
thing,
into a room like nobody's business.
Be
the
fine.
second thing is you can get tickets like right now. Like we
Really?
could go next week.
Wow.
Yeah.
How big is it? Is it huge?
It's the
It must be like
I
a
think-
ride. They've got different sections, but they're all the same show. Yeah.
No, that's the thing. No, see, that's the beauty of this, of what I pulled out of what I watched. So without giving away too much stuff, you basically, it's almost like if you've ever been on a cruise ship. Like you go there at 1:00 and you board the cruiser, and then there's like a meet and greet, and then there's some little like flavor stuff that kind of happens around.
Mm-hmm.
You
And
put
it's
your
not
keys into a big
big
glass,
fishbowl.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fishbowl.
So but it's from what I could gather, none of it is forced, pun intended. Like they don't say like, hey, maybe you should go touch these red buttons and see what happens. It's
Mhm.
like you can kind of semi-organically cause things to happen. They give you a data pad, so it's like like the captain of the ship will text you on the data pad, like, hey, how do you feel about this? Or in the example that I saw, a guy noticed that the little symbol on his wristband matched this little wall decal, so he just like booped,
Stuck it up again.
and when he
Hmm.
did it, it lit up, and then it gave him a menu to access like an elevator system that he was locked out of. And then like an hour later, he got a little thing on his text pad like, we saw you try to access lift 57, and it had some questions, and then it kicked off his adventure.
Wow.
So
Okay.
the thing that's where it has to be done in a certain way is that there are actors playing parts that you couldn't like swap out mid trip.
Yeah.
You know, like the captain is the captain is the captain, the tour director is the tour director. So there's stuff that
A bunch
happens.
of quintuplet actors everywhere.
Yeah.
Right, yeah, exactly. maybe that's the secret, right? They just hired twins and triplets.
Yeah.
But what it looked like was like whatever your series of events did would line up differently. So like you could go do bridge training where you bring up the deflector shields and you shoot asteroids, and like one bridge training thing might be part of story A, and then later on in the day the bridge training for group B will be some other part of a story. So it's like it's congruent, but you contribute to different parts.
Interesting.
And like so it's, the long story short is like October-ish we should save up cash and go.
and go. Like and be bunkmates.
Or get like 2 rooms, or I
Yeah,
mean I wouldn't mind
that sounds
slamming into a room. That's but
Well, it
like I
sounds
said, it's-
fantastic and it looks amazing. Do you get to go outside, or is it as if you are on a space cruiser?
there is on the ship there is a it's actually really clever. They call it like a habitat simulator, but it's really just like
Hmm.
an outdoor area. So like if you get claustrophobic, you can go to the outdoors. There's
Love it.
also a part on the second day where you actually go into Galaxy's Edge at Hollywood Studios in Orlando.
Oh, cool.
And like you have to do stuff like you have to ride Smuggler's Ride and get a certain score, or you need to go touch your little armband to some droids in the droid depot, or like there's little stuff you have to do
Mhm.
at Galaxy's Edge. And then you go back to the ship and like that, then that works out the rest of the story
That's cool.
kind of thing.
I
So
saw
yeah,
a
I will,
video of them doing like a Kylo Ren and Rey sort of
a fight.
scene where
Mhm.
he's on the ship and she's on the ship all of a sudden, and they actually have an active like a lightsaber that activates, which was pretty killer to see that.
Yeah. Yep.
That it looks real, pretty intense. But you got this great moment where she activates her lightsaber. He like shoots some kind of like force bolt at her. So she ducks down and then comes back up with a lightsaber ready to fight. And it was like I was so excited about the fact that like I would have loved to have been the one who figured out how to switch out your lightsaber from the one that grows that you clearly can't probably slam on stuff
Right.
for the other one. I was like, that is so cool. And that's what makes like Disneyland and those people so brilliant is that they're just like, oh, we're going to like choreograph it so that it's like a Broadway show. It's amazing. I love it.
Right.
Yeah. So it looked good. And I think my initial,
Now she's a shower. Now she's a grower.
Yeah.
Now she's a shower. You know?
my initial concern with this was, how are kids going to ruin it for me?
Ah,
And like what they showed was definitely they had kids there, and they were definitely a lot more interactive with the character actors.
mm-hmm.
You know, like Chewbacca shows up, and then he was just swarmed by kids.
Yeah.
So
So-
he takes everyone.
He takes the
kids
brunt.
away.
Yeah.
Yeah, but there was other stuff like throughout the ship. And again, I've only watched one full video, so you only get to follow them down their road. But it looks like there's absolutely like enough stuff going on that you feel immersed and part of it, with the caveat of it's probably not a very relaxing vacation.
Right. Oh,
'Cause
no,
it's-
there's nothing
it's like-
relaxing about it.
It's not like you can like time out and like go chill at the pool for an hour or something. Like no, it's like
Yeah,
you're
you
there.
can't go to a cantina and just get.
Well, they do
trashed.
have some time. Well, you could do that, I guess.
They go, where are these Padawans? I'm ready to murder.
There's always that one murdering guy.
I mean, they did have what looked like some built-in downtime, like on the first day.
Yeah.
And I'm assuming that's just part of the show, literally, of like how do you get 400 some people onto a ship, all the pads registered, you know, there's meals,
Good
and
Lord.
so it's
Mhm.
but it looks like they've done a good job of compartmentalizing enough stuff that they actually had one thing that they did which looked like a very, you know, quote unquote, intimate's not the right word, but like a small setting. There was like only 20 people that got to experience this very big part of the story. And it's not like that happened in 6 other locations, because there was only one character playing a certain character there, that you couldn't have like 5 of them unless you had triplets or quadruplets or whatever. So it looked like you could
Andy,
like
Andy Richter and his brothers.
yeah. So like what I'm getting at is it looks very involved, but I think if the 3, or if we get a couple others, 4 or 5 of us go there, we would absolutely have different experiences.
That's interesting.
Even just amongst like the 3 or 4 of us.
Yeah.
Which
That's cool.
is like exciting to the fact of like, that's why like I wouldn't mind bunking, because it'd be like, this is literally where we're sleeping, and like we'll probably like meet up to eat. But other than that, like I'm gonna be doing this thing, and you're gonna be over there doing this thing.
Go have some blue milk.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, which apparently they had just like at a dispenser. You could just like.
I assume that
Now,
there's
if
booze. I would assume. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
You got
And
it.
well, they had a thing called like the Starliner Cantina, which was literally like the bar. But it had its own, like they had sabacc tournaments. They have a 3D sabacc board.
Oh, that's cool.
They've got the chess. You can play the chess. They had like a sabacc tournament. So if you were literally like, I don't want to do this whole story thing, you could do the sabacc tournament.
Huh.
if you have a gambling problem, they got you covered.
No problem.
Right. So yeah, it looked like there was, you would get out of it as much as you were willing to put in.
Yeah.
But it wasn't like you were just gonna sit in the room the whole time and be like, ding, it's 5 o'clock. Okay, let's go to this auditorium and watch this presentation,
Mhm.
and then go to our room. And then ding, it's 7 o'clock. Okay, everyone go to this other auditorium and watch this other presentation. It wouldn't feel like a conference, where you have this like it's literally. There was one of the I watched. I'll plug them for a second. It's called Ordinary Adventures. That's the name of their channel, and it's a wife husband duo, and they had like their cameraman, and the three of them went on totally different things, but they happened to like sync up at certain points.
That's
So like
cool.
one guy went like he did something, and he was the one who touched his wristband to the thing, and he went down this like smuggler's route where he was trying to smuggle stuff onto the ship and move stuff around. And then the couple was there to like support the resistance from within the ship, because it gets boarded by the First Order because they think there's resistance sympathizers, and so like there's that group. But then they had this whole like other area where there's a musician that comes on board, and there's like a super fan, and the super fan falls in love with like the keyboard player of the band. There's a whole line where I guess like a bunch of people got with that super fan and helped him write a love song to the keyboard player that is like played in front of everybody. So there's all this like
Wow. That's
bonkers
intense.
stuff. Oh, I would love to see like the outline of this trickle effect of all the stuff that you could get into.
Just the
depending
sheer
on how you
production of
answer.
it is crazy.
Oh, yeah.
How did they do the rooms? Do you have like windows and it looks like your stars are going
Yes.
by and stuff? Really?
Oh yeah.
Oh wow.
Well, that's another thing. So you have a room and you have a giant screen as a window. There's one channel I just happened to catch a glimpse of that they were talking about how they were looking out the window, and then all of a sudden like these First Order ships showed up in their window, which would have lined up with the events that they were talking about in this other group. But then there's like points where they went into hyperspace, and also the window like hyperspace next to the window. So it looks like it's all connected.
That's cool.
Yeah. I mean, it'd be sick to just like get a camera and just have it pointing at the window your whole trip.
Yeah.
And just like, so that way you could literally
That's
sync
what I'm gonna
up.
do. I'm just gonna stare out the window. You go, guys.
Hold
Just
on.
wait. You guys go have fun.
So it's,
I would love a version of that. I would love a Star Trek version of that too, because you could play on the holograph, or what were those called? The
Holodeck.
holodecks.
Yeah.
Yeah. Go like Deep Space Nine or on like a starship. That'd be cool too. That'd be super fun.
so anyway, it's something we should look into
Yeah. That
down the
sounds fun.
road after the summer, because it's in Orlando. You don't want to go in July.
Yeah.
So it's be nasty. But it's actually not bad. Like the sticker price is something, I think it's like $3,000
Mhm.
for like a 4-person room.
Wow.
But what that breaks down to with 4 people, it's like
Mhm.
it's like $375 a night or something like that. Like it's really
I assume you're not paying for anything along the way either. So
the only thing you pay for is I think alcohol and like anything you want souvenir wise. But it looked like when they're showing the menus of the meals, it looked like it was sit down and eat. Like it was
like a cruise.
like they served you. Like there was like, here's a 5-course dinner. They had a breakfast buffet that was just like walk and go. And I think lunch was similar, where it was like a smaller version of a 3-course, and then the dinner was like a 5 to 7 course kind of thing.
Wow.
It's
But,
all
yes.
calamari.
Yeah. Oh
Right,
man,
absolutely.
more
Well, of
bantha
course it was
poodoo.
Star Wars themed, and it was but they also did a really good job of saying like, okay, here's a this, but it's actually just like carne asada.
Yeah.
So like you wouldn't freak out. But they did have
Don't
some weird
worry,
stuff like
it's just
like-
horse.
they had like blue shrimp, which was interesting. Is actual like jumbo shrimp dyed blue.
Yeah.
Like, okay.
Yeah, it can be done.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So like I
Like,
said,
was
it's
that like Burger King in Tokyo or something? Who had the black hamburger?
oh yeah, like the midnight
the
burger that
bun?
was
Yeah, midnight
freaking
burger,
everybody out.
It was
Yeah.
like the bun was all black.
Yeah. It was
Like the whole
causing
thing
people's
was-
downstairs to turn black.
Oh yeah. Your doo doo wouldn't be brown anymore. That's for sure.
Yeah. So it's something to look for. We should talk later.
That's cool.
Maybe watch
Maybe
a
not
video.
October, but yeah,
Huh?
Mhm.
Oh yeah, sorry, yeah, not October.
maybe.
But I was just trying to think of like, I mean, it might be actually really good in the summer because it mostly was indoors. So
Mhm.
it might be nice to get out of the heat.
Is there Are there plans to do one at Disneyland as well?
I don't know, to be honest. I mean, I know it was a very expensive deal. I think the
Yeah.
problem with Disneyland is literally like the real
Just
estate.
space. Yeah.
Room.
Because even in Orlando, it's not next to the parks, which all the parks in Orlando are spread out in general.
Mhm.
But like when you in that day where you go from the cruiser to Galaxy's Edge, you get in like a box truck, but it's been styled on the inside to look like a space cruiser
Nice.
and stuff. But it's literally just like a U-Haul van that they modded up.
A non-air conditioned U-Haul trailer.
Yeah. Which I'm sure they'll square away. But it's got some distance. I think Anaheim would be. I don't know how you would do it, especially with traffic and timing. Like, can you imagine
Yeah.
being caught in like rush hour traffic?
And who knows
Trying
if
to-
there's any space there, anyways, to
Right.
build stuff.
We ran out of hyper juice. What do they call it?
Hyper juice.
Oh, the oh yeah, what did they call that?
Or spice. They had used spice for the hyper fuel, right? So here's my question: if
Yeah.
you want to complain to a manager, do they just cart out a C3PO or a R2D2?
Yeah.
And you're like, I need to talk to a manager. Okay, hold on, sir. They're like, I have a complaint.
But yeah, no, it looks like something we should look into. Seriously,
That's
I think it'd be
cool.
fun for the
Yeah.
podcast, but also just fun in general.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
it's
it's
like
intense, man.
it looks like it's a commitment. Like it's
Mhm.
because I think even the people I followed were at the beginning like, oh, this is what I want because I feel like I'm just staring at my phone all the time.
Mhm.
But then once you realize that the stuff you do on your data pad that unlocks all this amazing stuff down the road, it's like, all right, put in the legwork
Yeah.
but you got to stay in it. And
That's
but
cool.
yeah, they didn't look rushed because they were filming, so they
Mhm.
didn't look rushed at dinner. They didn't look rushed when they were at like the cantina just chilling out. So they looks like they got a lot of stuff, and there's definitely these marker points where stuff happens in what's called the atrium. That's kind of like everyone gets to see this type of thing. But it doesn't look like they were constantly like, oh God, it's 4:00. I got to be somewhere. And it felt very, very good. I mean, again,
Not
paced
so
it as you could.
regimented. It's more your
Yeah.
own. Yeah, you get out of it what you put into it.
Or it might have like a
Mileage
list of
may
like,
vary.
Yeah.
you've got these 8 things to do while you're in Galaxy's Edge, but one of them is do the Smuggler's Run, Rise of the Empire, and then like scan your data pad at like 3 droid locations, which are all within like 10 feet of each other or whatever. And it's like, so it didn't feel like, again, you were just like, I can't have any fun because I gotta make, it didn't look stressful.
Small talk with this Twi'lek exotic dancer. Oh wait, no, this
That's
is
not part of
enjoyable.
it. That's
Actually
not part of
sounds
it,
quite
but yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
Yes, it is. My compad says I need to. Sir, we're gonna bring the manager over. Sir, you need to quit bothering the dancer.
That sounds fun. Pretty stoked about the it's a little more than a month before we'll be at Disneyland with the whole fam. So that's gonna be pretty sweet. Yeah.
What days are you going? Do you feel like saying, or do you want to give me a window?
I'll tell you after the thingy. Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah.
We're going too.
Oh, are you
in
really?
May.
Oh, nice. Yeah. It's gonna be in April, but yeah, it's gonna be fun. But kids are super stoked. And the more they see about Star Wars, they're just like, what?
Yeah.
Because they're just at that perfect age where they think that it's real, and so it's gonna be
sure.
pretty fun. Yeah. Pretty fun.
To be young and delusional.
I know. Well, I still think it's real though, so in some ways.
Still looking for that Twi'lek.
Yeah. I mean, if Kylo wants to have a little private time. So anyways, back to Obi-Wan Kenobi for a bit.
Sure.
Oh yeah, Obi Wan.
That show that we were talking about a little while ago.
I like that he's riding the Klimu, whatever that.
Yeah, whatever that thing's called. Because didn't he ride that at some point in time? Did they ride him in episode 1?
He rode it to deliver the baby.
Oh,
and
that's
we were in
right.
episode 1, and one of them poops, and Jar Jar goes, "Woo-wee! He's so stinky,
It's so bad.
Misa Jim Jam." You go, "Okay, Jim Jam, thank you."
I watched the new Rockstars rundown of it, and they of course talked about that and showed a few like translations of the languages that are on the when they're off world, and they're showing Obi Wan in that Coruscant looking planet. And there's a couple of signs that say Gungan snacks, which is kind of funny that they're throwing that in there. But he pointed out like a number of times there's like the spaceship, the Inquisitor's spaceship that has like a pointy front.
Yeah.
And Darth Vader's castle has a pointy top, and the seats where the Inquisitors are all sitting have pointy things. But that was the end of the conversation. He was just pointing out that things were pointy. And so I don't know if that's meant to. Is it just good?
Choice.
It might just be good
black
set
and
design.
pointy.
Yeah, they're black and pointy. So
yeah, they just go. This is it's just a design thing.
Yeah, it's just continuity.
That guy's black, dark and pointy.
Yeah, but the Inquisitors live in the fortress underwater, though. Correct?
That I don't know.
I think that's from the game. I believe from the.
They live in the Gungan city. Did they take over?
It looks underwater in Camino, is what it looks like.
Yeah, I don't remember.
Yeah,
actually.
But I'm just really hoping. My biggest hope for this is, number one, we just get off of Tatooine.
Yeah, for a reason, not
for
just
a reason. Yeah. Number two, that Obi-Wan is actually cool still. Yeah.
He's got to go to.
I want Obi-Wan to be cool. I want him to play the the badass version of him before he starts getting old.
Yeah, not just going, I failed.
Yeah. Because it's only 10 years though, right? It's basically like 10 years from this series to A New Hope. That's some significant aging that Obi-Wan has to go through between now and then.
Yeah.
Because Ewan's not very old.
I mean, they could retcon that where he has to do something that uses so much of the Force that it like prematurely ages him.
True. Yeah, that's true.
That could be the big like
Oh yeah, they loop,
series hanger.
Yeah.
Oh god, are they gonna have him astral project?
Oh.
That kills Luke, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Remember that?
That's a good point. But anyways, I want him to be cool, and then hopefully we do get the I don't care, I'm just gonna slice stuff into pieces Darth Vader, because that would be great too. Because we still need angry Darth Vader.
I just want Wrecking Ball Vader.
Yeah.
Like I want him to become the feared Sith Lord, that because when he's introduced in New Hope, he just walks around like everyone is galactically afraid of him, except for that one admiral who makes fun of the religion on the ship. But like people just know, like, don't mess with it. And even in the comics, he's like a body tosser. He just shows up, and like that's what it's like. Oh, we've messed up.
Yeah.
If he's here, we're done. Like, abandon all hope, ye who enter here. It's so I'm hoping that he starts like tossing bodies and burning villages.
Yeah,
and
be sweet.
Gets
Darth,
rough.
are you in your room? I'm busy, Dad. Leave me alone. You've been in there an awful long time.
It is funny though, as I've been.
I need to use the restroom too,
Why did we only build one restroom in your entire castle on Mustafar?
I do like the black points though. Pointy.
Everything is pointy here. The Emperor in the Lego stuff is kind of hard to beat. There's a whole alternate universe within the Lego Star Wars thing, and that's really funny because Darth Vader is kind of a lovable loser, and the Emperor is a big dumb idiot leader. It's kind of like Lego Star Wars is kind of what Space Force wanted to be, with like the incompetent leaders and his kind of incompetent staff. And even though the good guys keep screwing up, they still keep winning. And so it's funny to have this whole alternate sort of comedic universe that exists. And then we swing it all the way over here to like Darth Vader who kills babies. It's a weird double sort of universe. Almost a Marvel multiverse sort of feeling.
It is multiverse.
Yeah. Well,
do you guys have hopes for the show as well? Those are my grand hopes for the show. That's that Obi Wan and Darth Vader are badasses, and we get off Tatooine. So,
Yeah, mine's just get off Tatooine.
yeah.
I don't know if I have other hopes.
I mean, I want to see Force stuff, but that seems like it would be wholly against what the show is trying to do. Like if he's trying to be hidden and dead, like he's not going to use the Force at all. And then it's like, well, so my hope is that it's not like a Wes Anderson movie where it's just like you watch him making a pot of coffee and then like taking a crap and like flipping through the Tatooine Times looking for odd jobs. You know, like, I don't want it to be this like retired old man thing, but I also don't want it to feel like it's a constant peril situation, because you're not wrong. Like if they show up on the planet, they should be able to detect Obi Wan, absolutely, but then be like, wait a minute, that kid feels a lot like the most powerful
Right.
Force user in the world right now.
Yeah.
Looks kind of like him too, you know, like
Yeah.
so they've got to. I would love it like just episode 1 was Tatooine, and then he's like, I have to leave. You know, like that's the whole thing is I have to leave.
Right.
The best way to protect
have to
is
draw
to
them
go.
away.
Yeah, and then we get like this run across the galaxy of him, you know, finding refuge and battling the Inquisitors as they come across, and you know that's what I want is almost like oh man, it'd be dope, almost like the what's it called, the pilot for Battlestar Galactica, which I've talked about as one of my favorite pilots, where it's just the countdown, like we have 54 minutes and 18 seconds until they catch up to us, so they got to recalculate thing and go.
Right.
And then once they get there, we've got 54 minutes start. Like I would like at least one episode that felt like that, where it was just like he's under the gun to get away, and for some reason he just can't. But then obviously he gets a break, you know, and but then he's just like, I mean, that would be a way for him to sneak in, like meeting Ahsoka, or you know, running across the Rebel cruise or something like that, where he's finding places to hide that are safe, quote unquote, but then also still kind of in a sense of danger.
Yeah.
Because I would imagine, I don't know if it's ever talked about, so you have to forgive me, but like I'd imagine once Order 66 went out and then the Empire came into power, I imagine there's just a standing bounty on Jedi. So I would like to see that too. You know, like he thinks he's in a safe place, but then he gets betrayed by, you know, kind of like the Total Recall scenario where he's like, I got mouths to feed, man. I'm really sorry. You know, that kind of thing. So that's
it's
I would like
interesting.
Benny, the taxi driver.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wish I had 3 hands. That's always the line that stuck with me since I was a little kid. So here's the thing, though, and you know, I understand that we're in a whole new world because the universe is so gigantic within Star Wars. The thing that has escaped me,
nice Disney tie-in.
Yeah,
a whole new world.
Yeah. I was trying to. I'll come up with a Lion King reference here in a minute. But there's so in The Mandalorian, there's all this mystery surrounding Jedi and the Force, where no one really knows who they are, what they are. And same thing with In A New Hope is Luke doesn't know anything about what Jedi are. It was these mystical warriors that existed who, you know, blah, blah, blah. Same thing with Han Solo. Oh, all these, you know, your stupid religion died a long time ago or whatever. But the problem with that is that if these Inquisitors exist between Order 66 and essentially A New Hope, the universe, the galaxy knows that there's people hunting these Jedi. The Jedi are like these outlaws running from the you know, the tyranny, as opposed to them being this forgotten ancient religion. So that's kind of been retconned to a certain extent too. And the timelines within all of these, where they're all placed, it doesn't fit anymore that Han Solo was kind of clueless about Jedi, and then all of these characters were kind of like, what's a Jedi? I don't see that anymore as being a thing.
Here's a couple quick things. I feel like Han Solo, when he says good against remotes, is one thing where I kind of could tie it into him going, "Oh, I know about Jedi, but they just fought against droids, so I don't really think that means much."
Mm-hmm.
Not that I mean that's again a retcon, but I go okay, whatever.
Yeah, I'm into that.
But you're right in that I think it was a stretch to say, oh, from episode 3, where Jedi had been long established, and they're fighting in the Clone Wars, the biggest galactic battle
Right.
in 1,000 years.
It's going to
And
be
all of a sudden,
documented. Yeah.
we're gonna just forget about him because the Emperor crushes all the history of them, burns their temple. It's like, yeah, they'll be forgotten to an extent. And I guess if everyone's arrested, if you even mention the name Jedi, like I get it, if it's this dictatorship and you just squash that information, that history, it'll kind of work. But you're right in that it's like, are the Inquisitors secretly looking for Jedi? But then you see in this trailer, they're like going, "Hey, where are they?"
Yeah, in the
Do
bar.
you know where anyone is? Yeah, and it's like, so yeah, you're correct. It's like, which one is it? Pick a lane.
And then I would say the biggest retcon that seems to be happening is so specifically the line in A New Hope when Darth Vader says, "When I left you, I was but the learner, but now I'm the master."
Right.
So what people are thinking is that there's going to be this big fight, another big fight between Obi-Wan and Darth Vader in this series, because Obi-Wan is the one who left Darth Vader because Darth Vader was laying on the ground, like playing with the semantics of the line to suggest that there will be one more battle between the two of them somehow. So that's another conversation in the books, that there's going to be this big fight because their fight on Mustafar was not actually the final battle, essentially, is what they're going for.
Well, that was the fight between Anakin and, because we don't sorry, Obi-Wan doesn't know Anakin survived. He also doesn't know that Anakin became Vader. So that could be the fight. Is there's this Sith Lord now that just shows up.
He might know that he's Darth Vader, though, because I think he sees the hologram of. No, what does he see? In episode 3, he sees all sorts of and I can't remember if he literally sees like him standing in front of the Emperor and Emperor going, "Rise, Lord Vader." I can't remember what.
I don't. Yeah, I'll have to rewatch it. But so I mean, that could be the fight. Or it could be that it could be the same revelation of like, "No, I am your father." It could be like, "No, I'm Anakin," or something along those lines. So there is still room for a fight, and it could be to the sense of where like Obi-Wan is battling Vader, but feels that something is familiar. And then I'm not saying he does like the reveal, but he might be able to pick something up in his fighting style or say something or whatever, or even accuse him, because doesn't Vader think that, or he's told that Obi-Wan killed Padme, right? I thought that's why he got so angry. Or no, the Emperor says you killed.
Yeah, the Emperor tells him that he did it. Yeah,
but there's room there though too, because he said even when they're fighting on Mustafar, he's talking about how you turned her against me.
Right.
There could be a line along that path about you never trusted me since I fell in love with Padme, or her name will come into dialogue somewhere. Yeah. And then that could be the thing where he's like, and maybe he like pushes him off a cliff and runs away.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, because you're not wrong. Like, they can't destroy each other. Literally can't, because then A New Hope doesn't even happen.
And there's certain elements of A New Hope that almost I mean, he's already changed so much of the original trilogy anyways. May as well go change it, where Obi-Wan and Darth Vader are fighting, and Obi-Wan says he calls Darth Vader Darth. Where it's like, with their history of life, he wouldn't call him Darth, with the exception of us not wanting to know that he's Anakin Skywalker. He would call him Anakin. Like, that's just how it would be. So there's little things too where it's just like, hey man, let's just go back in now that everybody knows that Darth Vader is Luke's father. Let's just go in and just change that stuff and make them familiar. I mean, hell, there's a guy who did a full-on deepfake putting Ewan McGregor's face
Reimagining
we put Ewan McGregor's face
Oh,
onto
okay.
onto Obi Wan
I
in A
get
New
it.
Hope. Looks great. Fine, do that. You know what I mean? Just like go back in and let's like revise the whole thing. It's interesting.
Yeah.
Get
I mean,
rid of Alec Guinness.
Well, I mean, just for fun, just for a version
Yeah.
of the
Just for
story.
fun.
I mean,
yeah,
Just axe them from
just
history.
ask them from
Yeah.
the entire history.
They've dug a hole just because A New Hope was literally the first material.
Yeah, yeah,
So like there's even I was reading somewhere about how the one little line in Revenge of the Sith where Grievous meets Anakin and says, "I thought you'd be taller," and he says, "I thought you'd be something else." Like
not made of metal.
Yeah, Filoni had to basically hide the two greatest generals of the armies from never running into each other for an entire 6 seasons of an animated
Right?
series.
Yeah, yeah.
You could never have them meet because of one throwaway line. So to say that about New Hope is tough because it's not like it is movie number 4, but it's literally movie 0
Mhm.
where there is no history, there is no backstory, there is no
Right.
the things that were just said and edited together because they work. Now it's like, how much do you try to retcon that without ruining the existing content? Because if that's the first time that they've ever re-met and he does call him Darth instead of Vader, as
Mhm.
opposed to calling him Maul instead of Darth, like
Yeah.
it's like it's like calling him Doctor, right?
Yeah.
Like Doctor, that kind of thing. So it's just well, like it was just a line because they literally didn't know any better, and nobody had any idea that it was going to work or
100%.
not. So
Yeah.
it's like, do you? I don't. I hope that that's not too much of like a hamstringing for the show.
No, it's true though. No, but that's the actual truth. The actual truth is
Yeah.
that the script was written as it was because the entire story hadn't been written,
Right.
and the characters didn't have the familiarity with each other, and we didn't have the familiarity with the characters. It's kind of like talking to Brian about would it have been the first Iron Man maybe he was watching, and we were having a discussion about does it really hold up or not.
Oh yeah,
And-
he doesn't think it did. Yeah.
And the reason I think the reason that one would feel that way is because we've gotten so familiar with the character of Tony Stark / Iron Man to the point where we know him now as the redemptive character, the hero who saves the galaxy. But the thing is, in Iron Man 1, he was just a big old douchebag.
He's
And
way
so-
more enjoyable.
Yeah.
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 I love him in the early stuff.
Yeah.
He's a piece of crap.
He wasn't a character that we liked.
He's a
And
selfish. Yeah.
Exactly.
His whole arc is go from
Yep.
a selfish, rich kid to,
Mhm.
the
Yeah,
selfless,
spoiled rich kid to having his eyes opened up right in front of him.
Yeah.
Literally.
yeah. And there's some complaining from, like Scarlett Johansson was talking about how she doesn't like how her character was treated early. I think it was Iron Man 2 maybe when she shows up.
Right. That's her first.
Yeah, and Tony Stark's like, I want one. And she's like, treating, objectification of women. Da, da,
But
da.
that's
It's like,
what he
that's
would
the whole
do.
point of the
It's-
character.
Yeah.
Is he's
It
supposed to
doesn't-
go from that to that. And she's supposed to go from this hot character to someone who saves the galaxy as well. That's the whole point, man.
Well, especially
but also
when
she's camouflaging herself as
Yeah.
just I'm just a secretary and I'm look at me, and he goes, ooh, I want one. But then
Well, yeah, and then
by
when
the end
we-
of that movie, they're like, oh no, she's
Mm-hmm.
this other thing.
Exactly.
Well, yeah, because I can't remember, is it Avengers 1 or something else where she's being held by like those 3 like Russian
Yeah.
gangsters
Yeah.
or whatever.
She's in a chair.
And this
Yep.
she's tied into a chair in a little black dress, obviously using her wiles to get information. So for her to be like, I don't feel like I should have been treated like meat. Like you had a whole scene where the point was you were meat.
But also that she was pretending like she was in peril, and then
Yeah.
she gets the phone call from like Nick Fury, and
And she's
she's like,
totally
yeah,
calm.
what is it, boss? I'm busy.
Mhm.
Okay,
I'm working.
all right, fine. And then she just like murders those guys and then
Yeah.
goes
Yeah.
and does the other job. Yeah.
Mhm.
So at no time are we actually thinking that what's your butt,
Black Widow.
Black Widow is weak or
Right.
just some trashy
Right.
nobody.
Yeah. It was a character that was being played, and also
She uses her sex for advantage. That's
Exactly.
the thing.
your job. This will be the end of this tangent. Your job as an actor is to not judge your character or the characters in the scene. Your job is to play them as truthfully as possible. And
Right.
so when you begin judging after the fact on the wokeness of a script from nearly 15 years ago, can't do that. We can, as like viewers, we can go and say, you know what, I don't want to watch Kiss Kiss Bang Bang because A, I hate the fashion, and B, it was super homophobic. I didn't like it.
Right.
It didn't feel that way at the time, but it's because we were in a turning point in culture where it was like felt okay to say those things or not. We were trying to get it out of our system before we became more enlightened. You can't go back though and judge the thing for what it is now, in the sense of
Well,
making
you can
it
judge it, but you can't condemn it. You can't,
right.
like, if you're gonna do that, give the money back.
Right, yeah.
And also,
Yeah.
but also, you have to condemn yourself. So if you, I
Yes.
think it's people stepping outside of that situation and then pretending like they have some high road, and you're going, no, you signed that, you got those checks, yeah, exactly, and you agreed to do this thing. Now, sure, we can say, well, that's Hollywood, and people had to take the jobs they could get. Sure, that's true.
There's some merit there, yeah.
But at the end of the day,
Yeah.
what here we are.
Yeah. It's kind of in the same vein as the what do we call it? The DC stuff. What was that? What are those people called?
Justice League.
Yeah, I keep on trying to say Avengers. The Justice League, where everyone suddenly is like 3 years later talking about how terrible Joss Whedon was on set. I was like, what you're allowed to do is tell someone to F off on set. You're allowed to do that. Like, you're allowed to bring these things up in the moment when it happens.
Right.
Yeah.
But you're
Not
waiting for a
wait
cultural
for-
shift and bring it up at a really opportune prime moment where you can cancel somebody. Then it starts to get somewhat suspicious, And so not judging it, I'm just saying that you're allowed to stand up for yourself in the moment, whether it's going to hurt your career or not.
Well, that's why. So speaking of something like that, right? So it's famously known, and I'm gonna get the numbers wrong, but for the movie Swordfish, Halle Berry to that point had not been nude, for lack of a better term, right? So the rumor or the story or the whatever you want to call it about the movie Swordfish is like they needed her character to be very sexy, because that was part of the character. Is she needed to kind of seduce Hugh Jackman's character into thinking that she was a triple agent, blah blah blah. Well, there's a scene where she like flashes him because she's out sunbathing and she flashes him, and I don't know all the context of it, but essentially she told him, like, if you really want this, it's going to be $1 million per breast.
Like, good for her.
Okay, here's $2 million, and she's like, okay. So
that's amazing.
But what I'm getting at though is like she did that. She was like, I don't think the character would necessarily do this, because there's another scene where she's in just like her underwear or whatever. So it's like the character is sexy alone right there. But like, if you really want this part, I'm not just going to say yes and do it. You're going to fork out some cash. How bad do you want it? Like and people be like, oh, well, she sold herself. Like, no, she didn't. She knew her value.
Smart.
And she basically said, if you want it bad enough, this is what it's going to take.
And do you have a job? Anyone who's making that argument?
Right.
Yeah, we're all selling ourselves.
So and it's like there's also like there's a string of actresses that have declared like never nude. It's fine. There's also a string of actresses that you can almost guarantee if you see them in a movie, you're going to see some extra skin off of it. Both completely valid decisions. Some of them may be a little out of character, if you will, but like.
But in some cases, it's empowering to someone like Anne Hathaway, where she had played all of these good girl parts up until Brokeback Mountain, and she really wanted to create a much more grown-up character, but she did it herself. It was her choice and her desire to do this character like that. And so that's equally amazing. I heard that Hugh Jackman was $15 per testicle, but they wouldn't pay that. So they were like, nah.
They're all old and hairy.
He's like, the lower one's
been
18.
Under that Australian sun.
Yeah.
They're all
No,
deep
and
fried.
like I said, it's funny that right people look back on this stuff and they're super judgy on it, and I would
Yeah.
still hold to the fact of like, well, then give the money back,
Mm-hmm.
Right.
or if you're really concerned about it, find a battered women or exploited women's charity or whatever,
Help
and
'em
just
out.
write them a
Yeah.
check, help them out. Like if you're really bothered by it, not only give back that check, but give back like the next 6 checks, because I'm sure that opened a door.
Mm-hmm.
So just keep giving it back.
Yeah.
Like if it really bothers you that much and you have that much regret on it, act on it. Don't just say it. Because you're just saying crap. It doesn't mean anything.
Life
Like,
is
act on it.
happening.
You're making headlines
for
to
you.
get it. It sounds like you
Mhm.
just want attention and
Yeah.
go, hey,
Yeah.
I'm relevant, and look at me, I'm part of the new. What's the new PC like standard? Okay, that's me.
Mm-hmm.
Here I am.
Yeah. Revising. I mean, revising history to a certain extent, or changing things, is very important in some respects.
Yes.
You
Yeah,
know,
for
because
sure.
we don't want to continue certain narratives if they're not true, and so that's
We
very important too.
Should grow.
Yeah, definitely grow.
But it's the retconning of things to
Mhm.
all of a sudden kind of want to seem like you're this virtuous thing when
Mhm.
maybe way back you weren't and you didn't know better, and it's okay. Just say I was
Yeah.
dumb and that's that. And let's
Right.
move forward.
But there's
Let's be
also
better.
tremendous value in us exploring what we can explore about things like how the White House or the railroads were built, or like these were done on the backs of slaves and essentially slaves in some respects. Let's talk about it. Like, let's actually discuss it and learn that our history is so much more vast than just crossing the Delaware River heroically on a painting. Like, there's a lot of really great stuff. The problem is that we fall into these channels of bandwagoning, for lack of a better word, to get behind the latest craze, as opposed to really attacking things that are truly, truly deeply important.
Well, or also just playing the team sport of which team am I on? Okay, what's our what am I supposed to say? What's the talking points I'm supposed to run by? Okay,
Yeah.
that's
I
what
want to
I'm
be
doing.
angry today. Where do I go?
Well, I'll
Right.
tell you what team I'm on now, the Denver Broncos, because they just signed Russell Wilson to a contract. So you're welcome,
For
world.
a giveaway.
Yeah.
So what happened with the Denver Broncos is they watched the beginning of draft day, but they didn't finish it, where they get all that stuff back.
All right. Well, they got a few of those draft picks from the Von Miller trade, so it was a little bit of cash in the bank that they were able to spend that they didn't need. But I'm telling you,
I hope
man,
he does great.
You're
I hope
just
he does
here's the
great.
thing. I understand that you're upset because now you're not like the top dog, because now the Chiefs,
He's old. man.
Chargers, and the Broncos are all. He's going to play for 10 more years, he said. So you're welcome. Yeah, that's what he wants to do. He said 10 to 12 more years and win 3 Super Bowls. Mark his words.
All
I
right.
week
there
3
we
next
go.
season, ACL tear. He's
Now
out for this.
This is, but it basically turned the AFC West into the best
Oh, it's the premier
division by
absolutely.
far. It's
The
the most
Wild
competitive.
West, is that what they're going to call this
Yeah.
division?
The
Yeah, you
Wild
got-
Wild
Anything
West.
could happen.
In the Wild
Yeah,
West.
Mahomes,
Crazy.
who's angry that they didn't go to the Super Bowl. You got the Chargers with Herbert, who's like a rising star.
Yeah.
You got Wilson with like the old gunslinger, and you
He's
got
not
David
old.
Carr, and he's old, man.
Not old. He's like 30.
He's getting
Yeah, that's old.
you got to blow a shoulder.
All of
or
them are
something.
old, man. All of them are old, except for Herbert. He's super young. But and Josh McDaniels is now the coach of the Raiders, so
from the
they're less
Patriots.
racist now. So it's going to be a really nice
Oh,
division.
yeah. What's his butt?
Yeah. Ooh, that was brutal, man.
We're 10% less racist.
Yeah,
Is that their
yeah.
slogan?
10%. And Khalil Mack went to the Chargers. It's going to be
Did he
a
really?
hot
I didn't
year.
know that.
Like, fingers crossed. The beauty of it is I love football so much. I want everyone to be the healthiest. I want every team to stay
absolutely.
like the most competitive, because it makes it so much more fun when you come down to the wire like the Chargers and Raiders did, where all they had to do was tie and both of them would go to the playoffs. But they went
they
into
couldn't do it.
overtime
Yeah.
and tied, and they still, one team ended up winning. But I love it. It's going to be exciting. It's going to be an exciting year. Very pumped. So I don't
Gotta
have to
something
switch
take
to
our
the
mind off of Obi Wan.
Yeah.
To the Rams, or who are you gonna go to?
Because what's the next slate?
Yeah, the
So
Rams.
literally, what's the next slate? It's Obi Wan is May 25th,
May. Okay.
and then Ahsoka is in the summer sometime.
I'm
or
not
is
sure when
Mandalorian
Ahsoka's
in there
happening.
somewhere. Mando's in there somewhere, right? Because I've been
Let's find
seeing
out.
some
Ooh.
clips in there.
I have not looked. When's
Mhm.
this
Let's see.
Andor show? Man,
Upcoming
they promised
Star
like
Oh,
10,000
Andor?
things,
Cassian
and then
Andor?
half of them have been dropped. So I don't
Yeah.
even know what's actually real anymore.
Whoops.
Because
Oh, here
we're
we
not
go.
due for. We don't have a movie coming for a bit. Like they're talking about doing like an
Obi-Wan.
old
Yeah.
Republic, right?
Yeah.
Oh, what's that?
The High
Oh,
Republic.
the Acolyte.
Rangers
that's
of
like-
the New Republic or something like that.
That's the High Republic stuff of like the way back.
Are they doing a live action or cartoon or a?
I think it's live action. I would imagine their cartoon interest has gone way down
Mm-hmm.
until they
Right.
get like they'd have to have something to bridge between like 6 and 7, just like Clone Wars. Like even though Clone Wars is kind of technically between 2 and 3, but like they need an event in order to create a long running animated series, and I don't know if they've got the legs in there, so that's why they're doing all these little minis.
Well, or even like aside from Bad Batch, right?
I'm not seeing
Like I think they'll always have animated, but it'll be more like the Resistance or whatever, that animated show, like shows that probably none of us will watch, but like kids will watch. It'll be on Disney and whatever.
Yeah. Droids.
Blades.
I'll tell you though, they're doing another Bad Batch season at least, so that's happening, which I think that show is fantastic. I love it.
Yeah.
That
Oh,
is
yeah.
wonderful.
And again, like all the Filoni stuff. Like even like I said, Rebels, I couldn't get hardcore into it, but by the time it would get to a season finale, I was like, all right, this is Filoni stuff. It's great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the last season of Clone Wars was wonderful. It was it was like a choose your own adventure sort of alternate history feel, because it was showing you the exact same time frame as Revenge of the Sith, but what was happening not in the movie. I loved that part. Like that part of it was absolutely brilliant. I thought it was fantastic. So yeah,
Yep.
I'd be up
Get
for more
different
animated.
points of view. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and then I think they have the freedom with an animated series too, if you're not confined to an hour and a half to 2 hours.
Yeah.
So you can tell a long form story that the live action one, you couldn't pay the actors enough to do that many, but like a Clone Wars, you could pay a voice actor enough to do like
you
5
only have to pay
seasons.
one voice actor in the Bad Batch, so
Well,
it works
well,
out
yeah.
nicely.
But
D. Bradley Baker or whatever.
but
Yeah.
still, you have more flexibility with. It's got to be super cheap to build, especially these things are so animated at this point. It's just you're just
when you have all the models,
you're
everything's
just dragging
already
and dropping
been
assets
designed.
and just
Yeah.
repeating. Yeah.
Dropping them assets.
Boom.
No.
Jumping like hot. Well, any what's the word?
Final thoughts.
Final
What were
thoughts.
those birds?
Is this supposed to be like Minox coming out and getting blown out of a
Feathery Minox?
yeah.
Yeah, maybe. Are they that colorful?
That's so funny. Yeah, they were like blue and silver
Like,
or
they're
something.
like, or
Mhm.
green or something. Yeah.
Oh man, there's so many online strips without clothing coming into our YouTube chat right now.
Yeah, they're still stripping without clothing apparently.
We got to figure out how to block
Which is
that. That's
nice. Yeah.
ridiculous.
I know. Okay. Yeah, you're right. It's funny though. Oh, they're just flying in. Wow. All right,
Yeah.
we're blocking.
But no, final thoughts are Boba Fett did a great job of lowering the expectation bar, not in a good or a
Correct.
bad way, but just like that. Like, don't go into this
Real. Yeah.
with
It's reality.
outlandish expectations.
Right.
Go in with a little bit of knowledge, and let them tell you a story. Don't try to like do like Lost and figure out what all the secret meanings are. Just let
Mhm.
them tell you the story and enjoy it as it comes.
Right.
And then hopefully you'll get these nice little tidbits that pop up that are really exciting. And don't expect anything amazing.
Right.
Just because it's all past. It's all in like Obi-Wan's
Right.
not going to die. Like Luke isn't gonna they're not going to find Luke and kill him as a kid. Like, it's just a thing that's not going to happen. So
Right.
you have to be aware that certain plot points aren't going to exist because they can't.
Mm-hmm.
So don't expect like we're talking about like the Obi Wan Vader battle. We all want it. We're probably not going to get it because they literally almost can't run into each other.
Right.
They just can't. In canon.
Or unless they use the line the way that people think they're going to use it and suggest that there's going to be one more battle that Vader will walk away from, making the line valid that when I left you, I was but the learner. But the thing is, if he's already Darth Vader, I don't think he would have called himself the learner. He probably considers himself the master at this point.
Yeah.
I would say.
I'm the master. No, I'm the master. I'm the master. No, I'm the master. And they just do that. And then they have a dance revolution, dance off.
And Qui-Gon's in the corner.
the-
I'm the master.
But yeah, anyway.
All right, everyone.
And I'd love to see it. I'd love to see a pop in from something, whether it's a Clone Wars pop in
Yes.
or a Rebels pop in, even just
Mary
in
Poppins
reference. Yeah, even just in reference of like maybe being the MacGuffin for some problem that he's having. Where he, like, he needs to get away, and it would be awesome if like the Ghost pulled up with
Right. Yes.
the Twilight
Oh.
Captain whose name I can't remember.
Yeah, we need to see
Like-
that for sure.
Right, like the Ghost lands and he jumps on and they take off and they bust into light speed. That's enough for me to be like that, because in general, because here's why it's great. If you don't know what that is, it's still awesome.
Yeah.
Like the concept of it is still great.
Yeah.
But then when you know what it is, it's just better.
Right.
Yeah.
That's what I want.
Well, and two, I think to your point is if they do it right, they want to dangle out ideas where people can go, "Ooh, I want to see that now," right?
Mhm.
Where they can be fan fiction and whatever, and comics and books that go on. Oh my God, they just hinted that Obi-Wan has this other adventure with these characters. Oh,
Right.
what could that have been? I think, like, if they're smart, they do something like that.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because there's a whole nother 10 years in theory till A New Hope, so some stuff can happen and
Absolutely.
whatevs. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And this whole entire time, I've been thinking this was taking place. That Obi-Wan series was taking place at the same time as the Mandalorian. Nope, not even close. Boy, am I
get
dumb.
so confused.
Yeah.
With going, these things are after Return of the Jedi versus this stuff.
Right.
All that's become so blurred for me.
Well,
too.
what
Yeah.
it
Even though
it is
Yeah.
they
know
could
I do know
have
that.
Okay, good.
They
I'm glad
could
it's not
have-
just me.
they could have baby Boba show up on Tatooine
Ugh.
I might be fine.
I hope
because
not.
his Django died in, was it Attack of the Clones?
Yeah.
Mhm.
So there
right before
could
the Clone
be
Wars started.
a
teenager?
baby Boba scene. Yeah, a teenage Boba as one of the bounty hunters hunting Obi-Wan.
I hope I get some hot Dengar action.
Like a preteen Boba, just like sipping milk because he's not allowed to drink yet.
Oh, God.
Well, there's like Clone Wars episodes where, he's just like the pissy, I'm trying to become a bounty hunter. And they're like, shut up, kid.
Shut up, kid.
Oh yeah, I forgot.
Right,
Yeah, you
yo.
meet baby Boba.
Mhm.
Oh boy. Yeah, we'll see. Maybe there'll be some Dagobah action. Some Obi-Wan on Dagobah saying hi to Yoda for a hot second.
Yeah, there may be some like Yoda force chatting.
Yeah, that'd be cool. Be down
Right,
for
how
that.
how much they lean in. See, but that's like the thing is,
Mace Windu.
like they have to be
heard-
careful with the Force stuff, because if you're trying to hide, you can't just be like
Yeah.
broadcasting, I'm a Jedi, like everywhere you go.
That's true.
You can't go sit on that rock in Mandalorian and just blast
Right.
out your brain.
I mean, you're not wrong, but right.
fingers.
Yeah, your brain fingers. Is there Mace Windu rumblings?
Well, so now there's all these rumblings of what was going to be or maybe considered that is not in the show. So it's like, okay, so like Ray Park talking about Darth Maul, apparently the first script, because there were major rewrites. They halted production and did
Yeah.
some rewrites and it pushed the show back. where I guess the original writer, the big bad, was going to be Darth Maul. And then Filoni and Favreau were like, no, go Vader. Let's just go all like go bigger. And also we need to tie in the Rebels crap. We need to tie more stuff in.
Right.
Yeah.
New things. As one of my friends texted, that's just the animation guys trying to prove their worth. I
Right.
was like, wow, okay. That's one way to look at the show. But yeah, there's that. And then also I saw some headline of saying that Samuel L. Jackson, because there's been all this fan art of Mace Windu being alive and like he's half blind and looking craggly and awesome. That he was like, yeah, I'll do it.
Is he like his character from Black Snake Moan? He's all wild hair. He's wearing like a white
Ptolemy
t-shirt.
Gray. Yeah. That would be cool because he could at least, I mean, may as well, right? At this point, just bring them all back. No one dies in Star
do
Wars.
Whatever. Who cares? Yeah, this guy, he didn't die. He just got zapped
Give
and
us
fell out of a building.
Kit Fisto. Bring them all back.
Yeah.
Why not?
Yeah, Kit Fisto just got a flesh wound. He's
Yeah.
fine.
He's fine.
He runs a sushi joint on Coruscant.
No, he's an activist for anti-sushi.
I watched the arena battle when the Jedi first arrive in Attack of the Clones. And boy, did they not tell those actors to do anything with their lightsabers. They were just like, here it is. You just pull them out and you flash them. Yeah, it's rough. It's like little kid, like 4-year-old with a lightsaber type stuff for most of them.
Oh, I mean, like the cut and paste of just people stuck in the...
But the way
like,
that
the
they
arena.
stand with their lightsabers it's just unreal. Like no one even gave them any sort of like, just here's a few basics of sword play so that you don't cross your feet over or look like a dum-dum.
Yeah. Here's the basic how a Jedi reacts to things, that none of this, because like what Samuel L. Jackson, how he's doing a thing versus how Hayden Christensen's doing a thing.
Yeah.
It's all over the place. Yeah, there was no consistency.
Because we're supposed to believe that they've been trained since they were children. And
all
yet
under
they
the
all
same
look
stool.
terrible. Yeah.
Yeah,
or
this is like a samurai thing. They all have the same style, but
yeah.
they're all over the place.
And half of them get shot in the back of the head by their clones during Order 66, so they're just not paying attention. No one's paying attention at all. That's pretty funny. Well, those are our thoughts on Obi Wan Kenobi.
We're excited,
cancel
cautiously
culture.
excited,
and on all things Avengers. So thanks for listening, everybody. We appreciate you swinging by, and we'll see you next week.